So hello, this is JC here. We're in day 985, I think, or 983, I can't remember, of the quarantine, the coronavirus quarantine, and it got me thinking about what it is that I can do to protect the fruit in my fruit trees from all the critters, the chipmunks, the squirrels, birds, etc., and what have you. So I try to find different solutions online on YouTube as far as protecting fruit, but I think this garden hack is the best one. One that I saw was a guy who was wrapping fruit in a kind of a net, but that wouldn't prevent the squirrel from biting right through the net and chewing the fruit. I think this is going to be the one that works. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use a plastic juice bottle and convert it into a cage that wraps around the fruit and protects it from all the critters. All right, let's get started and see how we can make a fruit cage. Okay, so the tools we're going to need is a drill, a 5/8 inch drill bit, a Dremel tool with a key, a cutting disc, and another drill bit for the Dremel that is not even 1/4 of an inch wide to make holes into the fruit cage. We're also going to need a blowtorch, and this is the bottle we're going to use to make the fruit cage out of it, along with a couple of zip ties which you can actually open using this little lever that they have. You press it and you can actually open it up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these little plastic rings that are holding up the handles. It's better that we cut 5/8 of an inch hole in the bottom of the bottle before we slice it open, because this gives us more control. If we cut it open, then these two parts are gonna wobble relative to each other. You'll see what I mean. So where eye protection, stabilize this and be very careful where you point this thing. That's it, there we have it. I'm going to change the drill bit. So we're going to be cutting holes that allow for the drainage of the water, for the breezes to go through and cool the fruit. You don't want rainwater to be pooling inside, bathing your fruit and attracting mold and things like that. So eventually we're going to be slicing this open and allow the back end to act like a hinge, basically. But it's better to cut the holes before we do that, also for stability purposes. So I'm using what is called a palm thumb grip, which allows you more control. So I hold the Dremel tool in my palm, and with the thumb I stabilize against the piece that I'm cutting, and that gives you a lot of control. It prevents gyrations and vibrations of the tool around the piece you're working on. We're going to be cutting holes for where the zip ties will be going through in order to keep basically the clamshell tied together. Okay, so this opening is 5/8 of an inch. This one is a little too wide, so what we're going to do is we're going to heat it up with a blowtorch and kind of move it in a little more on itself. We're going to use this piece of metal to do that because it's going to be hot. So this is about right to accommodate a branch and not leave enough room for the critters to go in there. We're going to be switching to the cutting disc. So just for the sake of symmetry, we're going to be going down this way. So the reason why we cut it this way is because the shape of this bottle is that it has these little indentations on the side, and just to keep it, you know, for overall symmetry, it's more effective to do it that way. So basically there we have it. What we have is kind of a clamshell, and this is going to go around the branch of the fruit tree, and we have the entrance hole for the branch and the exit right here. And what we also need to do actually is cut, I neglected to say this, to cut a little hole on the side of the rim here, which will accommodate a Velcro strip. So basically the purpose of this hole is to accommodate this little Velcro strip. They come in rolls, and you can just peel off one of them. It's about 6 inches by ½ an inch. And this is going to be used to stabilize this fruit cage on the branch. You might not need it, but it's nice to have it if you do need it to you know, wrap it around a branch so it hangs like this, or, you know, depends how you're going to be using it. So it goes through the hole. And then use this to roll it on itself and to roll it around the fruit branch. Okay, so let's go out in the field and see how it works. So here we have a few apples, and they're on different branches. We have 2 apples on this branch, 1 apple on this one, so we're actually going to combine 2 of these branches. They're so thin that I think we can work them in. So we open up the clamshell, go around the branches. Do it nice and gently so that you don't actually tear up the fruit as you're trying to protect them. So here we zip this up. And we're going to use the little Velcro strip to stabilize it onto this branch so it doesn't slide down. So this is one that I did earlier. It has several apples growing inside. The more holes you put in it, the better it is for drainage. If you do see a little bit of water, just give it a little twist so that it has a chance to drain. We had a torrential rain yesterday. But generally the drainage shouldn't be an issue if you put enough holes in it. So this is JC. This is my fruit cage. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you use it. If you have any ideas or thoughts, drop me a line or subscribe. So here we are a couple of weeks later, and you can see that the apples are growing nicely. There's 1, 2, 3 apples in there. There's a couple in there, and you can observe that where there's no protection by a fruit cage, there's no apples. All the other apples have been eaten away by squirrels, mostly squirrels, chipmunks, etc., etc. These are also great for grapes. If you want to grow your own grapes and make wine, it'll protect them. You just wrap this around the grape as it's growing, and well, before it starts to grow, and it'll protect it from the critters. Okay, thanks again.